Hello, wonderful people on the internet. It's your boy Papa Django, and I'm back with a big banger tutorial. Welcome to the series where we are building a full stack Udemy clone with Django Restframework and NextJS, which is a React framework. Okay, so I thought of recording the whole back end in one video and recording the whole front end in one video, but whilst I was recording I got tired, so I had to stop. So I've decided to make it into a series, let's say about 2 hours long for each series, so that when you're watching it becomes compact. Okay, so that's how you're going to go about it. So if you have not watched the first video or the first video, please kindly check it. I'm going to link it up here, so watch out for that one. So in the first video, we were able to build up the models, create our view. Our first view was the home view. Okay, so I want to bring up this one quickly. So if you go to the demo link down there and you see something like this, please, it's an error that I am aware of. It's because I'm hosting the server on Heroku, free server. It takes some time before the server is being boot up. Okay, so you have to just refresh it again and it's going to work. Okay, just give it a few seconds this time around. Okay, so this is it. So this is the Udemy clone that we are trying to build. So we are done with the view that is going to handle this this home page. So the next one that we are going to do is we are going to build the detail page. So when you click on one video like this, one course like this, it brings you to the detail page where you get detailed information about the course, the description, the comments that are available on that particular course, and other stuff, and the sections and the episodes that are inside that particular course. That's what we are going to start off from this video, okay, or in this series. So you are going to build the detail page, handle the comments, then the authentication and everything in this series or in this particular episode. Okay, all right, so let's jump into the code straight ahead. If you have not watched the last one, please kindly watch it. We built this view and we did our models and a lot of configuration, so please kindly check that one out. So if you are new to the channel, as usual, please subscribe. If you're an old member already, please comment in the comment section. Give me some motivation so I am able to go ahead with this recording then. Okay, and like the video, share with your friends, and basically that's all. If you have any problem, or let's say a Python or Django related problem, and you want to get in touch with me, my social media handles are in the description below. Just feel free to hit me up, and I'm going to give you my help as much as I can. Okay, so in this view, episode, what you are going to start off with is the course detail page, okay, or the course detail view. Okay, that one is going to be an API view. So let's go on. So we are going to create a new class. Class, if I can spell class. Okay, so that one is going to be called course detail. All right, it's going to inherit from the API view. Okay, and we are going to create a get method. So it's just going to handle a get method. So it's going to take in self, take in request, and takes in the course UUID, so that we'll be able to know the particular course that we want to find the detail of. Okay, then we take in the args and take in the quarks. Okay, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to query the database for the course with the UUID. Let me scroll this up a little bit. It's fine. Okay, so we are going to store it in a variable called course. Then we are going to get Okay, so it's be auto imported for me. So I've imported the course here. All right, so course dot object dot filter. You are going to use filter instead of using the get method. The get method, we will have to handle the errors, but in the filter it either returns an empty array or an array of that particular course. Okay, and the course UUID is unique, so we won't get more than 2 courses with the same course UUID. Okay, course underscore UUID. All right, then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to check if there is a course. If not there is a course. If not there is a course, then it means that the person is trying to access a course with a UID that does not exist, or that course does not exist. So you are going to return, oh sorry, I can't spell return well. You are going to return an HTTP, oh sorry, HTTP response of bad request. We have to import that one in. Why am I getting this? It's supposed to be HTTP. Then we are going to pass in a message which says course does not exist. Okay, so let's import in there. So that one is from Django, from REST framework. REST underscore framework dot response import HTTP. Do I even remember where it should be? Okay. No. Okay, so it's not from here, so let's I usually forget this import, so it's from Django dot HTTP import, oh sorry, import HTTP bad. Okay, this is it. Bad response request. The same thing. Okay, if I can spell response well. Response. There's supposed to be a P here. Okay, so that is it. So this one is just going to return a response with 401, which means the response was a bad request. So if it's able to pass this if statement over here, then we are going to continue. We are going to call a serializer. We are going to serialize the data that we want to send to the front end. Serializer. Oh, what's all this? Then you are going to use a serializer called course on paid, because you are going to have courses that are paid. Okay, on paid serializer. Then you are going to pass that particular course. Since this thing over here is going to return us an array, we just want the first one. It's always going to be one element, so we just want the first one. Then we are going to return a response. Then the data we are going to send is the serializer dot data. Okay, then we are going to pass a status of status dot http underscore 200. Okay, like this. All right, so this is the detail view, but we have to go and create this this serializer. Okay, so let's grab the name. So let's save this. Let's go into our serializer file over here. So if you remember from the first video, we created our course display serializer, so we can minimize that. Let me get some space below before making it minute. Okay, so we don't get distracted. We can focus on the next class. So that one is going to be called class course. Then you are going to also inherit from the model serializer. Alright, sorry. Then we are going to have a class meta. Going to have a class meta where we are going to specify the model, which is going to be equal to course, which is already have been imported here from the first video. Then we are going to, instead of specifying the fields like what we did in the course display serializer, this one we are going to specify the exclude, the field that should be excluded. Then the only field that we want to exclude is the ID field, the one that is automatically created by Django for us. Okay, so that's the one thing that we want to exclude. From there, when you look at this detail over here, we are getting some comments over here, this comment. So we have to find a way of passing this comment to the serializer, because there are many-to-many fields, and many-to-many fields by default are not serialized. Okay, so we have to find a way of serializing the comment. Okay, so above this thing over here, I'm going to create a comment serializer. So it's going to be called class comment serializer. Okay, down to is also going to inherit from the model serializer. Alright, oh sorry. Then below we are going to have a class method, just like what we do for all. Then we are going to pass the model over here. The model, as you know, is going to be the comment model. Okay, so you have to import that one in. So here, import in comment like this. Then we have to state the fields that we want to include, or we have to state the field that we want to exclude. So we are just going to state the field that we want to exclude. Okay, so that one is going to be the ID. But let me open up the model so that everything makes the explanation become simple for me. Alright, so if you look into the course, the comments over here, you see it has a foreign key to the user field, and the which is a foreign key. So foreign key usually come like one, let's say the ID of the current user, but we don't want that. That one is not, it doesn't give us any reasonable information. So we are going to use this serializer, this user serializer, which we created in the first video. Okay, so that's what you are going to use to serialize the data, to serialize the user data. Okay, so to be able to override that, you have to write the author, which is the field name. The field name over here, or it's not author, it's user instead. Sorry, so user. So here should be user instead, and it's going to be what's the name, user serializer. Okay, and here we are going to pass it an argument of read only true, so that when you are using it inside our view, we don't have problems with passing data to it. Okay, so this is how you are going to serialize the comment. So down here, for us to be able to serialize the comments that will be passed along to this serializer, so you are going to serialize the comments let's look at how the field name, so I'll be able to override it safely. All right, so move up. This is the course, so we call it comment. Okay, so you are going to override that. So here is going to be comments as I've typed. Then you are going to use the comment serializer. Comment serializer, and we are going, it's a many to many field, so many is equal to true. All right. Then the next thing that we want to do is the author that we want to, the author for that particular course. And since it is a foreign key, we are going to use the same user serializer. So the author, overriding the author field, and it's going to be called, it's going to use the user serializer. Serializer. All right. Nice one. Then the last part, the next thing that we want to serialize is the course section. Okay, so let me show you the course section. So each video, or each particular course, not video, each particular course has multiple course sections, which is a many to many field here. And each course sections has multiple episodes. This is it. And an episode have just a single video that is tied to it. Just like we have a full movie, and in a particular movie you have sex. That one is not done in movies, but let me show you it's this thing over here. So this is the detail page. So this is the whole course. This is the whole course, but this course has two sections. And when you go into a section, you have one episode. This is the episode. I hope you guys understand it. All right, so let's go back. So that's what you want to serialize. You want to serialize the data that will be brought in by that many to many fields. So you have to define a serializer for that one. Okay, so the course session serializer, let's do that also above this. So class, let me leave two space. Okay, class course section unpaid. So the unpaid and the paid is going to make more sense when you start doing the paid for the paid user, for the user that has purchased the course. Okay, we have some details that we are going to pass along. All right, so model serializer. Okay, so in that serializer we are going to have, okay, so let's define the class method first. Oh, not meat method. Oh, no meat. I'm hungry. All right, then we are going to define the model. Okay, so the model is going to be the course section. Course section here, auto imported for me, as you can see over here. The next thing that you are going to define is the fields, right? Okay. Oh no. Okay, so the fields that you are going to pass along is the section title. The section title. Let's look at it, whether there's anything like section title. Okay, so this is the section title. You are passing along the section title. All right. Then the next thing that you are passing along is the episodes. Episodes. And you are going to pass another section called the total duration. So the total duration of that particular session. If I can spell total duration. Total duration, just like this. All right. Let's keep it running. All right. So we have to find a way of serializing that episode, the episode, a single episode. All right. So you are going to do that one too above here. We are creating a lot of serializers, I know, but it all makes sense so that we'll be able to serialize a particular data. So class episode on page serializer. On page serializer. Oh, if I can see, let me spell serializer well before we suffer for that. So we are going to inherit from the model serializer. Model serializer here. And for that one, we are going to send, let's define a class method. Okay, we are going to have a module over here that is going to be the episode. Okay, so it's being auto imported for me as usual. Then I'm going to specify the fields. Okay. Okay, so in this page, this is the most sensitive part. So if a person has not paid for that particular course, we should not send this particular file. That is what is going to be loaded inside the, what's the name, the browser. If the person has not purchased it, they should not have access to that file for them to be able to play it inside the browser. Okay, so we are going to exclude that one. It's very important for me, guys. Right, so instead of using fields, you are going to use exclude. Okay, so you are using exclude. Then we are going to specify the folder we should exclude, which is the file field. Then we are going to add some other fields to as well. We are going to add the length, which is going to be the length of the video or the particular that particular episode. All right, so it's going to be serializers dot char field. Okay, serializers dot char field. Then we are going to pass the source, and the source is going to be this method over here, the method that has been defined for to get the length of the video. Which one is it? This one. Get video length time. Okay, so that's what you are going to pass it. You are going to pass it as a string. All right, that is all. So now let's pass this serializer down to this course session on page serializer. So we are going to override the episode section. Then we are going to pass it a many equals true. All right. And the next thing that we want to do is provide the length of the total duration. Okay, so total duration, because there's no field on that particular model that is called total duration. Let me show you that one. There's nothing like that, so you have to define the logic for that one. Okay, and you are going to use the method, this method over here, the total length method. All right, so total duration is going to be equals to serializers dot char field, They are going to pass it a source, and pass this thing down. All right, so this is it. You are almost done. So now you have to pass this course session on page serializer down to this course on page serializer so that it will be able to utilize it. Okay, so we are going to pass it down as a course section, or course sections, plural, makes sense. I'm going to use it over here. Then you are going to give it a many equals true. All right. The next thing that we want to pass down is the number of students that have enrolled for that particular course, the total lectures that are in that particular course, and the total duration of that course. So let me show you where it is utilized inside it. So the total number of students that have enrolled in the course is this 4. As this time there are just 4 students that has enrolled, 4 students for now. Then the total duration here, when it is run down, it is giving us some 0 values, but because the videos are very small, 0.9 seconds and 3 seconds, that's why it can't amount to any minutes or second. But if you use huge videos or longer videos, you'll be able to get the total duration over here. All right, and the total number of lectures and things to over here. All right, so let's do that. So we are going to do student underscore no. It's going to be serializers dot integer field. We are going to pass it a source that is going to be a method on the course here, which is the total gets enrolled students here. Okay, so let's get it. Let's pass it down here. Okay, the next one you are going to create is the total lectures. All right, that one's also going to be a serializer. Oh, if I can spell serializer, well, serializers dot shuffled. Oh no, sorry, integer field. Okay, then you are going to pass it a source, just like the student number, and inside the view, or inside the model, sorry, where is it? You are going to use get total lectures right here, which is going to return us a number, so you can use it inside the integer. So here, all right. Then the next thing that you are going to give is the total duration. All right, so it's going to be a serializer.shuffled. All right. If I can spell serializer word, well, okay, serializer.shuffled. You're going to provide it a source. All right, let's get to the method from here, and we are going to get the total course length over here. It's going to return as a string. This get timer. All right, okay, so this is the course on page serializer done. All right, so let's import it inside the view, and let's test our view and see whether it's going to work. So up here, where we are importing the course display serializer, let's import this one too. Let's save it. Now let's start up our server. So Python 3 manage.py run server. I'm using Python 3 because I've not made some configuration on my computer yet to make Python 3 the default Python version. Give it a few seconds so that this thing runs up. Okay, so our server is up, so we can close this thing down, close our terminal. Then, as you know from the old the previous video or the previous episode, I was using Thunder Client to test my endpoint. All right, so let's go to our collection that we created. this one over here. So let's test this one, the home page one. So we test it. Beautiful, we get our response. All right, but we have created our view and we have not connected it to any endpoint yet, so we won't be able to test it. So let's connect it to an endpoint so I'll be able to test it out. Okay, oops, sorry, Control Z. Let me copy it instead. Then let's go into our urls.py file. Then I'm going to create a new endpoint. A new endpoint that is going to be above this one. So let's create path, close it, let's use our comma very well. Then we are going to call detail, then I'm going to pass a UUID over here, and it's going to be course underscore UUID. All right, because that's what you're expecting at the back end. Then here we are going to use our view, so let's import it in. All right, then it's a class-based view, so as view. All right, so let's save it. Then let's go back into our Thunder client collection. Let's create a new request. What are we going to call it? Detail page. No, let's call it course detail. If I can spell detail well. Detail page. All right. So it's going to be an HTTP /localhost port 8000 /detail / a unique ID. Okay, so let's go get. Let's provide some wrong thing over here. Let's just test it. I want to be able to store there. Okay, so it doesn't find it because we are using a correct typing over here. It checks whether it's UUID before it routes us to this particular endpoint. That is cool. So let's go to this one. So let's grab the UUID for a particular course. This course. Okay, let's grab it. Let's go back here. Let's paste it. All right. So now let's test it. Okay, so it's going to give us a for because Django expects an ending slash. Really? Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to pass course over here. Sorry about that, guys. Still for what's happened? It's supposed to be courses. I think it's supposed to be courses. Let's check from the home page. Okay, so it's courses. Sorry. Let's do that. Okay, so we have an internal error, so it seems you had some error somewhere. So it says course object has no attribute sections. Wow. And it says serializer failed. Okay, so it seems you have an error inside our serializer, and it's coming from. Let's go and check over here. So here's where you're using course sections. Let's check from the model and see whether it is called course section or course sections. Okay, so it's section, not sections. That's weird. Let's take out that S. Let's save it and refresh. So our server restarts. Alright, so let's go and give it a try again. and see whether it's going to go through. Okay, so you have another error. It says many to many field is not a trouble. Okay, so that one is inside the line 44 inside the models.py file. So let's go check it out. Let's close this thing down so we have some space. Line 44 over here. So here is you are supposed to call .all over here, so that we'll be able to iterate over it. Oh, sorry. Let's line 44. This is it. .all. Seems you are supposed to do the same for this one too. Let's do that. If you get an error, come and fix it. Let's save it. Then let's go and give it a try again. So these are some of the errors that you might be encountering. It's part of the development flow. So let's make the request again. Okay, so this time around it worked. Okay, so you see we get the detail of a particular course. So that particular course does not have any course section. So you see the course section is empty. No total number of students, 0, no comment yet. The duration over here, testing, and blah 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 stuff. All right. Okay, so you can go ahead and add a section for that particular course. It's very simple, and an example was done inside the first episode. Okay guys, so since everything is working nice, but I have just one problem. The image URL here is using a relative path to the file system in our Django project, and you don't want that. In the first video, if you require to remember, we created a helper method here that gets absolute URL that gives us an absolute URL instead of using a relative URL. Okay, so we are going to grab that and override the image URL inside the course on page Serializer. Course, hey, sorry, it's supposed to be called image URL. Okay, so we are going to get a serializer serializers, if I can spell serializer well, serializers dot char field, and the source is going to be this method over here. So let's save it. Let's go and give it a try in our Thunder client. So let's refresh. Okay, seems our server is still refreshing. Okay, it's still refreshing, few seconds. All right, now let's make the request again. Okay, so now you can see we get an absolute URL instead. This one looks a little bit cooler or nicer. Okay, so now we are done with the detail view, or the view that is going to handle this page, the API view for this page, this detail page. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so this is the home page. All right, so on the home page you can see we have some categories over here, and on clicking this category we are going to get a list of courses that are in that particular category. So let's click on this. You're going to be routed to a particular category. So you see all JavaScript courses, then you have one course here which is the View Mastery course. So let's go back. Then it takes us to, let's choose the machine learning one over here. It takes us to a machine learning one. You see we get this particular one. So the next view that we are going to create is the view that is going to handle this particular category grouping page, or category view page. Okay, so you are going to get the courses based on the sector that the course has been grouped under. All right, okay, so we can close this request, then go back to our views. So we are going to create another view. So let's minimize this one. All right, so you are going to call it class sector course. So we are going to get courses that are under a particular sector API view. Sorry. All right. Then you are going to define a get. That it's going to take itself, taking request, taking the sector underscore UUID. That is going to come from the path, the what's the name? The address path. Okay, yes, the one that you are going to enter into your web address, the web address here, the web address path. Okay, so it's going to come from there. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we want to go and get that particular sector first. Then so we are going to get it from the sector. So it's going to be auto imported for me up there. It seems I'm already using it. So it's going to be object, so sector.object.filter. All right, then we are going to filter based on the sector underscore UUID. We are going to pass it the sector UUID that we get from the URL. Okay, so let's check the model. So when you scroll down, the sector is up, it's the first one. So you see you have a particular sector UID. Okay, so that's what you are using to query. Go back here, sorry. Okay, so when you filter, you want to check if it does not exist, if that particular sector does not exist. If not sector, so if it is false, it's going to be truthy. Then we want to return an HTTP response bar request, and you are going to pass it a message saying sector does not exist. All right. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is, if you are able to pass this if statement over here, we want to continue by getting the particular sector, the courses that are in that particular sector. So sector courses, and you're going to get it from the sector, then get the first element because it is going to be a list. Then you are going to get it from the related courses field. Let's check whether there's any field like that. It's a many to, it's supposed to be a many to many field. So this one, related course, okay, not courses, related course dot all, because it's a many to many field, so we get a dot all. All right, so now we have the fields. So we are going to serialize the data that we are going to send to the front end. Okay, so serializer dot it's going to be equal to a courseless serializer. All right, we are going to pass in this, the sector courses. Then you are going to say many equals true because the courses might be more than one. All right, oh, not many. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is you want to check the total number of students that have enrolled in courses related to that particular sector. Okay, so we are going to initialize a variable called total student. That one we can't get it from the serializer, so we have to do it ourselves manually here. So we are going to loop over the courses that are going to be serialized from this serializer, or from this data over here. All right, so let me space this one out. Can take out this space too, make the grouping more reasonable. Okay, so this one, the logic are the same. So for each course in sector courses. We want to get the total. We want to add to the total students. So plus or equal to the course dot get this method over here. So if you go under the course, you have a particular method that returns as the total number of students that have enrolled. Okay. So we are going to use that one over here. So we are going to call it. So it's going to return a number that is going to be added to that particular course. All right. Then after we have done that, we are going to return a response. All right. Then the response is going to be, oh, my charger is out, sorry. Okay, so then going to be data. I'm going to send a data. So the data is going to be the data that has been serialized from, that we have gotten from our serializer. All right, or the data that has been serialized. Nice. The next thing that we want to add is the sector name, sector underscore name. That one is going to come from, going to come from the sector. Going to get a sector 0, get a name from it. It's a code name. Let's check from the model to confirm we don't want any errors. So it has a property code name or a fold code name, so you can call on that. The next thing that we want to add is the total underscore student. That is going to be total students. So the same thing over here. Okay, I thought it is JavaScript, so it's not JavaScript, so you have to put them in strings, in quotation marks. Okay, like this. All right. The last thing that we want to do is we have to add a status. We want to add a status. So status, that is going to be, by default it's going to be status 200, but I usually want it to be as to explicitly stated. HTTP 200. Okay. All right. This way. So now you have to go and work on this serializer. All right, so let's save it and let's go and work on that serializer. Let's jump into our serializer.py file, then go down so we can minimize this one over here. You have to minimize a lot of them so that you don't have to suffer. Can focus on one thing. All right, so class, okay, so it's going to inherit from the model serializer. Then we are going to define the class method. All right, then you are going to provide it with a field. No, the model first, sorry. So the model is going to be the course model. Then you are going to provide the fields. All right, so the fields are going to be the course UUID. That is going to be very crucial in routing to that particular course in the sector. All right, and the next thing is the student number, which is not a field, so you have to define it inside the serializer. Then another thing we have to add is the author. All right, then The next thing that we need is the price of the course. Very important. I really like money, so very important. Then the next thing that you want is the author. We have the author already. Is the image URL, so you are able to show the preview. The next one is the description. All right, then we are going to pass the total lectures in that particular course. Total lectures. All right, so this is it. So we have to define some of them inside the serializer. So the first one is going to be the student number. Okay, it's going to be a serializers. Let me spell this done well. Serializers dot integer field. We are going to pass it a source of get enrolled students. Is it a plural word or just singular? Let's check. Enrolled students. Okay, just like that. Then the next thing that we want to work on is the author. The author, as usual, you are going to use the user serializer. Okay. The next one you are going to work on is the description. So the description, you want to send a standard number of words. Okay, so you are going to send a serializers.char field, where the source is going to be get brief description. All right, then last but one is going to be the total lectures. All right, it's also going to be a serializers.char field. Oh, so not char field, integer field instead, integer field. Let me correct this one over here. Integer field. Then our source is going to be equal to get total lectures. All right. So this is it. I think that is all. Let's leave a line break. All right, so you can save this, then now import it over here. Let's import it up over here so that you'll be able to use it. Okay, so you are going out, so let me break this one down. So that you're able to see it. All right, okay, so this one is nicer, it's cool. All right, so no errors now. So it seems you have an error here. Serializer this way, corrected. Okay, so now let's send this thing to our urls.py file, just as the other one. Let me break this one down too, so that you have some. Alright there. Let's paste it over here. Now let's add it to the path. Okay, so that one is going to go down here. Going to take in, okay, let's give our comma over here. Right, let's give it a running. It's going to take in a UID field that is going to go to, that is going to be called sector UID, like this. Alright, dot as view, because it's a class-based view. Okay. Alright. So I think that is it. So let's go give it a try. Okay, so before we do that, let's grab a sector UID before we go ahead. Previous response is here, so let's get to the sector UID. That is the sector Python. Okay, so let's create a new request. Let's call it sector course list. Alright, so we're going to go to http localhost port 8000 /courses / our UID / right, then let's, okay, so seems you have an error down here. Okay, so it says you get spouse. Okay, I'm sure you guys caught it somewhere. Okay, so it's supposed to be source. I think you have to restart the server manually. A few seconds. Alright, so our server is up. Then let's close this, then go back here. Let's try it again. Boom. Get it. Okay, so here it's supposed to be courses. Okay, so we get a server error. Seems you're always getting an error. So it says total lectures was declared on Serializer but has no included. Okay, so let's go back to our Serializer. So yeah, we said total lectures. Should spell it well. Give it a few seconds, then we can try it again. Let's send a request. Okay, so you can see we are getting the particular course. So we just have one course inside that particular the sector, which is Python sector. This is it, and the course that is under it is the testing course. What's the name of the course? Right, you didn't say. Oh, okay, we forgot to add a title to the serializer. So let's add a title. It's very important. You can't send a course without a title. Let's save it. Let's make the request again. Okay, it seems the server is now restarting. Let's try again. Still, it's made. Okay, so this is just, it has just one course, that's why you have this over here. All right, so if you have, you can try for the other sector too, you see the same thing. So you are done with that endpoint. So the next endpoint that I want us to work on is let's close this. Let's go back to our view page. So we are done with this one. Okay guys, so the next view that you are going to create, or the next API view you are going to create, is going to handle the searching of a particular course. So if you go to the website over here, then you go to the home page. When you go to the home page, you can search over here, or you can search over here. Okay, so you are going to search for a particular course with a term like the view, then you just hit enter. You see it gives us courses on terms, view, and it gives us this one. So you can search for another one, let's say Python. Hit enter. Gives us the one with Python over here. Let's say machine learning. Let's see whether I'm going to get. You see, we get one on machine learning too. All right. So that is the next view that you are going to handle. When you search for a course, you are supposed to get course related to that particular search term. So the search term is going to use the title. We're going to find for the search term the title, the description, and where, and also since the title and the description only, yes. So let's go back. So let's go and write our view. All right, let's go down, create a new class, call it search course API view. All right, then going to create a new property, a new method, a get method, going to take in self, take in request, then you are going to take in the search term. All right. Just those things. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to get a match. So get the matches, okay, because that are going to match that particular. So course dot object dot filter, and we are going to filter with two properties. So we are going to use the queue. So sorry, the queue. All right, so let's import in queue. So let's do that one below this one. So from Django.db .models import queue. Okay, so the queue is going to allow us to do all filtering. Okay, so usually the filtering is end, but this queue thing is going to allow us to do all OR. Okay, so we are going to filter with the title having an I contain, which is going to make it uppercase insensitive. I contains the search term, search underscore term. Oh, what's wrong with me? Like this search term. Okay, the next one we are going to pass. So we are going to use the pipe to indicate all. Get another one. Then you are going to search from the description and also use the I contains. Oh, sorry, I want to. Okay, I wanted to break my So I contains and see whether contain the search item, the search term that we are looking for. All right. Okay, so now we have our matches over here. So now we are going to serialize it so that our data looks attractive. Let me spell serializer well. Serializer going to be equal to, we're going to use the course list display serializer, course list serializer, sorry, not course list display. That one is going to use the matches, passing the matches. Then we are going to state that many equals true, because we are going to be passing more than one. We might be passing more than one. All right. Then we are going to return a response with the data equals to serializer dot data. Then our status is going to be equals to status equals to status. If you don't know where this status is, which oh, sorry, clear out this part. What this status is I'm referring it from here. I've imported it from a REST framework. Okay, so it gives us an enum that's of HTTP protocol or HTTP codes. Okay, so you see, it's a literal 200, but this one looks more readable. All right, so that is it for the view. So let's take it and we'll add it inside our views, our URL, sorry, our URLs. Okay, so we are going to provide our one below here. So path, so you are going to put it in the search. Then you are going to pass it an str, a string, which is going to be called search term. All right. The next thing that we are going to pass is our view, and because it is a class based, you have to call the class header as view on it. Then let's import it over here. All right, so now we can go and use it, can go and test it. Okay, so let's create a new request inside our collection. Let's say search course, let's call it search course. So it's going to be http /localhost 48,000 /course sys/search / the term that we want to use, which is Python. Let's try Python for this time. Let's hit it. Okay, so we get an empty. That's weird. Let's try testing and see whether you're going to get anything on testing. That's weird. Wow. Let's check. Let's go back to our views. Seems you are doing something wrong somewhere. Object.filter .q search item. That is weird. That is weird. Okay, so let's do some small debugging over here. Let's first see whether we have our search term. Okay, then let's print our matches. Let's see whether we have any matches, because it seems you are not getting any matches. That is very weird, very weird. Okay, let's save it. Let's go back and try. Let's pull up our console, what's the name, our terminal. Give it a few seconds for our server to refresh. Then hit it. So we get testing, blah blah. It's an empty query. That's very weird. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so okay, that's why. So let's just try testing without the chain. So let's search course. Seems everything is right, but okay, so you see it works now. Okay, because I didn't store that. You see, it's does when you give it to the chain, it means it doesn't match anything inside the title and inside the description. Towards the description and inside the description. That's why. Okay, so our search course functionality is working perfectly. So let's take out those print statements we added. Alright, take out this, take out that. Alright, save it. Okay, so with that one out of the way, let's minimize this one. Let's focus on other ones, other views. So let's go back to our the demo one. So if you own a particular course, you have the access. So let's click on this course over here. You have the, oh, this one doesn't have any feedback. Let's go back. Sorry. Seems view. This one has some comments. You have the ability to post what's the name, comments over here. So we are going to handle the comment section, the ability to add a comment, and from there we will handle the adding to cart ability. Okay, so class add comment. Okay, so going to be an API view. Sorry, API view. So it's going to take a post method as compared to the other ones. The other ones you have done so far. So it's going to take in the request, taking the course UID from the URL, then the args and the rest we won't use them. So let's continue. Sorry. All right. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to get the course. So this time around, I'm going to use a try except. All right. So let's use this one. All right. And the exception that we are going to handle is course dot does not exist. All right. And here you are going to get a course. You are going to get a particular course with the course dot objects dot get. So with the dot get, you have to handle the exception, because if it does not find any course with that particular criteria that you are going to pass here, it's going to throw this exception, which might break your errors, which might break your server, which if you don't catch it. Okay, so that's why you are catching it over here. So what you are using to get our course is going to be the course UID. So it's going to be a course, let's call UID. And here, if it shows that particular error, we want to return an HTTP bad response, HTTP response bad request. Okay, then the content you want to say course does not exist. All right. Okay, so now let's continue. So if you are able to get access to that particular course, first you want to get the data that will be sent to our endpoint. Okay, so you are going to get that from the content. You are going to store it inside a variable called content. Okay, so we're going to use json.loads. They are going to take in request dot body. Okay, so you have to import in JSON. Let's import that one over here. Import JSON. All right, so now we have our body, but one important thing that we want to check is that the content should have a key that says message, and that's where the message or the comment that you want to make is going to be populated at. Okay, so you are going to check if not, what's the name? If not content.get. So it's going to, this one is going to give us a dictionary. So you are using the get method so that we don't get any key error. So if it is none, if it does not exist, it's going to be none, and none is falsy. So we use this one to make it truthy. Okay. All right. Then we're going to return a response. Let's use a response instead. Then here you are going to say status. So here I don't set the status because that one is automatically set by Django for me. Okay, so status is going to be equals to status dot bad request. Okay, bad request this way. All right, so if you have the data, then now we can go ahead and serialize it. Okay, oh, what am I doing? All right, then we are going to use the comment serializer which we created earlier on. So comment serializer, we are going to pass it the, what's the name, the request, the passing the data, passing the data to it as the comment, the content, not comment, sorry. Oh, sorry. This way. All right. Then after you have serialized it, you want to check if that serializer is valid. So if serializer, serializer dot is valid. All right, we want to save that particular serializer, but we have to add that particular author to it. Okay, so now we are not working with on the authentication system yet. We'll do that later on. So let's give it a default author. Let's just grab, so let's create a variable here called author. Then you're going to get from the user, where's the user? No, so user.object.get, where the ID is equal to 1. This is just for test purposes. Okay, so we'll correct it, then use the request.user instead. Okay, the user sending the request. So we are going to save our comment going to be equals to serializer dot save. Then here we are going to pass in our author, our user equals to the author, right? the author of the comment, but the normal one we are going to use is going to be something like this. Serializer dot save with user equals to request dot user. Okay, so by now we have not added the authentication system yet, or else it's going to say anonymous user, so we can't store anonymous user for the meantime. So let's comment this one. You take out these 2 lines, then we use this one later, the last one. Okay, so let's continue. So now with the comments added, or we have now saved the comment, but you have to add that comment to that particular course. Okay, so we're going to do a course dot comment. You see this one, we don't index the first object because this one just returns just one item, not an array, not a list, sorry. So comment dot add, no, dot add. It's a many-to-many field, so you call the add method, then you pass it, right? And when you are done, you return what's the name, a response, sorry, supposed to be a capital R, response over here. It's going to have a status of, what's the name, status dot http underscore 201. Oh shit, that's bad. Underscore 201 created. Okay, this is it. That's the only thing that we are going to send. Then if it's not able to go into this serializer.create is valid, then it means that the serializer was invalid. So you have to return the errors to the front end. So it's going to let's do else return a response where our data is going to be equals to serializer, serializer dot errors they are going to add a status of status dot http 400 bad request. Okay, like this. I hope you are following me. All right, so this is the the view, but first you have to go and import in the user, okay, or else you're going to have an error. So let's import it right over here. I draw this thing over here. So from users dot models import. All right, like this. So let me bring this thing down here and move it down here. That's it. Let's try grouping our stuff. Let's send this one up. Okay. Oh, forgot this one. Okay. Everything is looking organized a bit. Okay, that's it. It's fine. Fine. Okay, so let's save it. Then let's go and add it to our URLs. Okay, so let's pass it over here. Let's pass our path. Let's give our comma. Alright, then here you are going to pass comment slash course what did you call it? Is it course UUID or yes, course UUID? Like this. Close it. Dot as view. Alright, so let's go import. Alright, this way. Okay, that's nice. So let's save it. Alright, okay, so let's go and give it a try. Let's create a new request, add comment. This time around, you are going to use a post, and it's going to have, what's the name? The endpoint is going to be http localhost port 8000 /courses /comment. Let's just send this. I want to save this still for the meantime. Let's go to the home page and get the UID of a particular course. This one over here. All right. Let's add it over here. Oh, sorry. Oh, don't mind. Let's go to our search. What's the name? Add post instead. Sorry. So slash this. Okay. So now let's try sending a request and see whether it's going to go through. So we have an internal error. So it says JSON expecting something. So let's just send an empty. So it means you have to handle this particular error. Sorry. Let me send this thing off. Control. Oh. Now let's send a request. Okay, so you see now we are getting a bad request. Okay, so let's take out this thing. Let's go and handle that JSON error. Okay, so this is the error. So let's grab this whole thing over here. Let's copy it. Close this thing. Where is it? So this is it. So this place you are trying making a try. So sorry, just wanna grab this part. Okay, then let's move this one up. Tab it in, take out this one. Okay, so when there's this response, or when that error happens, you want to send this thing. All right. This is it. So now let's go back to our request. Now there's nothing inside here. You see we are getting 500 internal server error. Let's send it. Let's give it a few seconds for our server to refresh. Let's try again. Bad requests. Okay, that's nice. We can even make it more specific, and inside here where is it? Let's pass the data. Let's pass some information. Please provide a body. A JSON body. Let's go and try it again. See, our server is up. Oh, it's about to refresh. It's refreshed. Let's try it again. See, now I have some message over here. So let's try its message. Pass its cool course. Course. Okay, so you can see it has been created. So with this particular course, we should have let's grab the UUID so that we can go and search for that particular course, get the detail of that particular course. Okay, so that one is the one over. So you see that you have no comments at the moment. So let's try getting it again. Okay, so now you can see that we have a comment over here and say cool course. That's perfect. That's correct. Okay, that's very nice. But I want to make it in such a way that only users that have a particular course can have access to making comments on it. If you have not purchased it, how will you know that the course is a cool course or it's a bad course? So you should have access to that particular course before you'll be able to do that, and you'll handle that after you have added authentication. Okay, the next view that I want us to handle now, let's minimize this, is the cart details. Okay, so these courses I do not owe. Actually, I'm not even logged in, so I can add them to cart. See, I add to cart, I get this cool thing, then this thing pops up showing that there's an item in the cart. So when I go to the cart area, it's going to take a little fraction of a second. You see that I get a detail of the cost, the particular courses in that cart, and the total cost. Okay, so you see the title, the author, the course price, and the total. So if I add another one, let's go back and let me add another one. Let me add, which one I added? Let me add this one. Let me go back here. Okay, so you see the total has increased. Okay, so this one is also so we are not checking the price at the front end, we are checking it from the back end, then bringing it to the front end. That one, it is very secure, and we know that nobody can manipulate it. So let's go and do that. So class get cart detail, no, not cart detail, cart detail. All right, going to have an API. It's going to be an API view. Capital V. All right, so it's going to be a post. Going to take in self, take in request. That's all that we need. Okay, so here we are going to use a try try except statement. We are going to do the same thing. We are going to check whether our JSON decoder.json JSON decoder error. Okay, so we are going to pass our body. Okay, so I'm going to call json.loads. All right, then you are going to pass in the request.body. all right, if you get any error, you're going to return an HTTP response bad request. All right, okay, all right, then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to check the type of our body. So if the type of the body, and inside the body we should get a property called cat. So cat is a list. If it is not equal to a list, then we want to return a bad request, because the what's the name, there is the cat should be a list of UUIDs, a list of course UUIDs. Okay, so if it's not a list, then it means the response is a bad one. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to check the length. So the length of our body dot get, and we are going to pass in cat. All right, if it's equal to 0, then we are going to return a response. A response of an empty list, just like this, simple. Then the next thing that I'm going to do is, if it is greater than the length is greater than 0, then you're going to get the courses. Guys, you can't imagine the error I just made. I recorded the whole thing, and I just saw that I didn't press the play button to record it, so I just thought I have to come back and repeat myself again. But no problem, let's do it again. Oh, but no problem, let's continue. So after that, I have checked that the length of the cat is not 0, or it's greater than 0. Then we get to the courses. We are going to start with an empty list. So please, if you are new to the channel, please subscribe. You can see the stress I'm going through just to bring out this course. Please appreciate my efforts by subscribing to the video, or by liking and sharing it with your friends. Comment below and give me some motivation. Okay. Oh, alright, so what you are going to do is you are going to loop over the UUIDs that are sent from the front end. So for UUIDs in body.get, we are going to get from cart. Okay, like this. You are going to get to the item. You are going to get a course. So course dot objects dot filter. They are going to filter with the course UUID, where you pass the UUID. Okay, so they are going to check if that course does not exist. So if not item, okay, that means a non-existent course UID was passed, so it's a bad request. Oh, sorry. Going to return an HTTP response bad request. All right, then the next thing, if it exists, then we want to add it to the courses list over there. Courses dot append. Going to append item. Because it is a filter, we get the first object or the first member. Then when we are done with the loop, we break out. Then we are going to serialize that data that is inside this thing over here. So we are going to use serializers or serializer. We are going to use a new serializer called the cat item serializer. We are going to pass it to the courses. We are going to state that many equals true, because we might pass more than one. Many equals true. Then the next thing I want to do is we want to find the total of that particular cat. So call it cat total. Going to be equal to, we're going to use a decimal. Okay, so the decimal, because I did the first recording, the first non-recording, I imported the decimal over here. So this is it. So start with 0.00. Okay, then you are going to loop over the items in the serializer dot data. Sorry, serializer. Okay, so after looping over it, you are going to get the cost, what's the name, the price of that particular item, and add it to the cat total. Cat underscore total plus or equal to the item dot get. You're going to get the price, but first you are going to wrap it inside a decimal. All right. Okay, so from there you are going to return a response. Then the response, you are going to pass data as an object or a dictionary that has cat detail. That is going to be what's the name? That's going to be the course details. So the particular courses that are inside the serializer. Okay, so serializer.data. Then the last thing is going to be the cat total. Cat underscore total. That's going to be cat total. All right. Then let's add our status, which is going to be called status dot http 200 underscore OK. All right, so this is it. We are almost done, but one thing we need to do is create this item, cat item serializer. Okay, so let's go into our serializer file. So create a new one, class. I'm going to inherit from the models serializer, the model serializer. Okay. First, you are going to have an author because it's going to be a course. So you are going to use the user serializer. All right. Then let's define the class method. Then here you are going to specify the model. That's going to be the course model. They are going to specify the fields. So I can spell fields. All right. Let's specify author. Going to specify title. The next thing is the price. Then we need the image URL. The image URL, we are going to use our custom method that we created, get absolute image URL. So let's override that field and use serializer, serializers.sharfield. And set our source equals to get absolute image URL. All right, like this. So get absolute image URL. Then let's send this cut to our view. Save. So let's move up. Okay, keep it running. Okay, so now our view is fully ready. Okay, so now let's send it to the URL so that we'll be able to use it in our routing. Okay, so let's add it here. Then let's add a path over here for it. What's the name? Call it cat. Going to use get cat, then as view because it's a class-based view. All right, that is it. So let's save it and let's go. Let me close this one over here. This is our, what's the name? Our collection. So let's add a new request to it. So what's add to cut. All right. Okay, so first you have to change the request method to post http localhost port 8000. Go to courses and go to cat. So let's try making a request to the backend without any body. So there's nobody here. So let's send it. Okay, so we get a bad request. Okay, so let's send one with cat part empty. We get an empty response. Okay, nice one. Let's send cat with let's go to the home page and let's grab the course. Let's get one course UID. You just have one course at the moment. Let's take this one. Oh no, go back here and let's change this thing to add to cart. Let's go to the body. Let's add it inside here. All right, so send it. Okay, so you see, make the request, we get the cat details, then we get to the cat total, which is the price of the total cat. But the single cost over here, it just costs $20 or whatever currency it is in. Okay, so now we have that functionality working perfectly. All right, so we are done with the adding to cart. The next thing that I want us to work on is having access to the course study. So if somebody has purchased a particular course, they should be able to watch it. Okay, so that's what you are going to do next. Let's go back to our views. So let's minimize this. Let's make some space below. Okay, there's some space. Let's minimize this one. Right. So I'm going to create a class course study. Okay. I'm taking the API view. All right. So you're going to create a dev of get. And you are going to pass it self, pass it request, and passing the course UUID. All right. So the first thing that we need to do is first get the course. And we can use the try except way. So try to get course. So it's going to be course dot object dot get with our course UUID equals to course underscore UUID. They are going to accept course dot does not exist. Then they are going to return an HTTP. Oh, bad, no. HTTP response bad request. Then going to pass the contents of course does not exist. Okay, so you are done with that. We know we have the course over here, so you can continue. Okay, so after you have checked that the course exists, you want to see whether the particular course is owned by the particular user that is trying to access that page. So usually this route will be protected, so you have to be logged in before you have access to this page. Okay, so that one will be done later, so don't worry about that. So the logic is going to be something like this. It's going to be course user course. So then you are going to get the request dot user dot paid courses. I remember you called it paid courses or paid course. Let's check, let's verify. Let's go into the user app, check the models. So we call it paid courses, so let's close it. Paid courses. Then it's a many to many field, so we have to, so we can filter, yeah, so filter and pass it the course, pass it the course UUID, because this paid courses just contain courses object, and you can filter it with the course UUID. The course UUID equals to course underscore UUID like this. Okay, so we check if user has course, so user course. All right, if not, let's check if not instead. If not, so that you're able to return the user. Return the user was the name, so if not, we are going to return, if I can spell return HTTP bad response bad request. Okay, then let's pass some. So user does not own this course. Right, so after, if we check and there's the user owns it, then we know, not instead of sending this, let's send response not allowed. That one is more HTTP not allowed. HTTP response not allowed. Okay, so that one is going to be like 402 or something like that. I don't remember. Let's continue. So the next thing that we are going to do is, if your user owns it, then we have to serialize the data from here and send it to the front end. So as usual, you just store it in Serializer. Then this time around, you are going to use course paid Serializer. We are going to pass it the user course. So going to be course, just course like this. No course. Okay. Then from there, you are going to return a response, or this response type. Oh, type my thing. Then the data you are going to send is serializer dot data. Then the status going to be status dot http 200. Okay, right this way. So now we have to go and create this serializer. Right, so this serializers here, let's just grab the name, let's save this, then let's go to our serializer over here. So let's minimize this one, the last one, this one over here. So if you try to remember earlier on, you created serializers for course on page serializers, session on page serializers. So this one is for just people that have not yet purchased the course yet. Okay, so it's almost going to be the same. The only thing that is going to change is this part. In this episode on page serializer, we are excluding the file so that they don't have access to this file to view the course. Okay, so we are going to create one under here, class. Going to inherit from model serializer. It's going to have the same thing as this. So let's just copy the same thing from here. Let's grab it and let's minimize it. Paste it over here. But this time around, it's going to use section paid serializer. So So let's go and create the section page serializer. So let's minimize this one. So beneath section on page serializer, let's expand it. Let's create this one beneath it. Alright, so it's going to inherit from model serializer. Okay, then it's going to use the same thing as this thing over here, so let's just copy it. Alright, but this time around it's going to use episode page serializer. Okay, so you see how simple is it? Episode page. So let's go create that one too. So let's minimize this too. So let's expand this one. Going to inherit from model serializer. And here is where you are going to make some slight changes. Let's grab everything here. Then let's pass it over here. Okay, so here we are going to pass, instead of exclude, we are going to pass fields. Okay, so here we are going to pass in our file. Then the next thing is the length, this length over here. Sorry, comma. The next thing is going to be our title. All right. Okay, so this is it. So this is everything done. Okay, so let's minimize this thing too. Cool. So you see we have paid, unpaid, paid, unpaid, paid, unpaid, paid. Okay, so that's how I went about it. Okay, so now let's go and use that course page serializer. Let me grab it from here, course page. Let's import it up there. Okay, let's move up here. Alright, okay, so now we don't have any errors now. Let's save it. Let's see whether our server is still alive. Let's wait for it to reload. Okay, so now we have created the view, so let's add it to our URLs. Okay, let's add it to our URLs. Go here. Let's first import it. Then you are going to add it before comments. So before comments here. So path. You are going to give a string called steady. Everybody has to steady. Going to pass it course UUID. UUID and course underscore UUID. Alright. Passing course steady that has view. Alright. This is it. So now you can go and try it out. So let's save it. Let's go to our Thunder client, and inside our collection over here, let's create a new and put a new request. Steady course. Okay, so it takes in a GET request to HTTP http localhost, if I can spell it, port 8000, go to courses, go to steady, then we need a course UUID. Let me get one from here. Oh, where is it? Let me retype it again. HTTP. Oh, local host port 8000 slash courses slash what's the name? Steady. And let's paste this over here. Let's send a request. I'm sure I'm going to get internal server error. I was expecting that. Okay. Let me see the error. Okay, so this anonymous error, anonymous user, that's what I was expecting actually. Okay, so for the meantime, we are going to, where is it? We're inside the view. Because we have not signed in yet, we have not dealt with the authentication yet part, so we are going to just give some dummy over here. Let's see whether we can reassign the request.user. Request.user, it's going to be equal to user.object user.object.get the user with the ID of 1, right? So this is just for development purposes. So let's save it. See, I'm going to try it once again, see whether it's going to work. Our server is still refreshing, so give it a few seconds. Send a request. Okay, so you see we get 4 or 5 method not allowed because the particular user does not have that particular course yet. Okay, so let's go into the user admin and add it to it. Let's add it for that particular user. So localhost port 8000 slash admin. Let's go here. All right, so let's go into the user. Seems you have just only one user. Yes, just this one. Then you're going to add the courses. Let's save. Okay, so with that one done, let's go back and try it again. Send a request once again. And now we get the response. Beautiful. But this time around, you see we get where is it? The file. Okay, there are no episode yet, so that's why we can't find no course session or no course episode, so that's why you can't see the files yet. But you can see the response is 200. Okay, so guys, we are almost done with this part or this episode. So we are done with the course study. So the next episode or the next video that I'll release, we are going to do the back-end payments acceptance from Stripe. So we are going to use Stripe as our payment gateway to handle our payments. Then we are going to use this wonderful package over here called JOSA. It's the REST framework version of, let's say, all auth. So it's super simple and very nice to use. I use it almost in every REST framework that I build. If I need authentication, this is the package that I use, JOSA. so you can go ahead and read about it. This is their documentation. I'll leave the what's the name, the URL inside the description below for you guys to check it out. But in the meantime, we're going to call it a wrap. So that's in the next one, you're going to handle the authentication and the payment process. Then we'll be done with the back end parts. Okay, so until then, bye bye, and make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment in the description below, and let me know what you think about this project. Bye.